Well, guys, this is, as you can imagine, it's quite disturbing. Something that over time and being out here quite a lot, I have seen before and experienced before, and that is something that does happen. For those of you that maybe first time are experiencing this and maybe quite upset about this, I remember just recently I told some of my friends when I was on leave that this is likely to happen with some of the lions, and they got very upset. A few of them got very emotional about it in terms of trying to protect them or take them out or so on. It's obviously very important that we realize first and foremost this is a big, large ecosystem that we're part of, and us as Wild Earth and also the other people in this area with lodges and so on from Djuma, we are literally just part of the system in terms of seeing it and observing it and being part of it. But if we start interfering too much, that wouldn't be right. This is a very natural process, as much as it is horrible, and as much as it does seem very savage. Like I was saying the other day when we were talking for a bit, that not so long ago people used to do this as well. Infanticide is not something that is uncommon in mammal behavior, as much as it is quite an emotional issue. In this specific case, what these lions are doing, or their objective with it, it's not consciously necessarily. It's all part of maybe their sort of evolutionary or their primal drive. But for them to spend the next year and a half raising these cubs, this one that we looked at now that's dead, and other brothers and sisters to this little guy, would not make sense. It would mean they're going to spend a lot of their time raising other males' offspring, and in that process they would waste a lot of time where they could have been raising their own. So by killing all the cubs, which if they haven't done so yet, they will do over the next few days, those cubs being away, the females will come back into estrus over the next few weeks, in the next month or two, and then they will have their own offspring within the next 3.5 months. So as much as this is very harsh, it's maybe not a very good analogy, but compare it to a terrible bushfire. As much as it is terrible, afterwards you get the grass flushing again. 4 or 5 months from now, there's going to be a lot of little cubs around from these new males, and maybe, as much as they are not going to be very popular at the moment, I'm sure there's quite a few people out there at this moment that are wishing we could do something horrible back to the big males. It is just part of how they do things. But being so many of them and being so dominant, as we've seen now already, and also further to the south, and what we've been hearing from the other areas, is they have moved the other males out in different parts, but if they are so dominant, they should be able to stay in this area and maybe be dominant for the next many years. So maybe one empire has been taken over by a bigger one, and a long peace will follow afterwards. So it's very harsh, it's a tough reality. It's upsetting to see a beautiful like this, but over the next few months there should be more cubs around, and those should have a very good chance because they'll have such strong parents or fathers that they could probably live to adulthood and go on. We're going to leave here for now. We're just going to have to look around the area a little bit more. There's 1 or 2 things I want to go look at further. When we saw Sully, there was some elephant in that area. See if we can have another look at it, and we're going to come back. There's also a very good chance that we are going to see lions later on. I just spoke to Ephraim on the radio, as you saw. At the moment they've got 2 males. There's just quite a few vehicles. There's very, very much on the edge of our boundary, but it sounds like there's some food, and I think we should see some of those males later on. Let's have one more quick look. Just speaking of food, you can see that this is probably what caused it. See, this cub had food in its belly. So the females would have killed something. Those tracks, yesterday morning there were some female tracks, lioness tracks coming past Waitela, and that's what those males picked up on. Followed those tracks, and that then eventually brought them to the youngsters, and from the sound of what they've been looking at the tracks this morning so far, they've also found the big male. Not quite sure yet whether he's gotten hold of him or they've gotten hold of him, but that's definitely what pulled them into this area. That looks like a lizard on the left hand side of that tree. Unfortunately a little bit tricky to see. I don't have binoculars here and I don't have a monitor, so I can't see quite exactly the way you do, but it looks like a lizard buzzard. Maybe Jan, you can confirm on a bigger screen there if it's got little black lines under the throat area.
And it looks like he's got some.
Yep. I'm going to climb back there with you, Jan. Looks like it. Oh, sorry. Difficult to see the detail there, but it looked like a little snake of some sort. Maybe a little wolf snake or burrowing asp or something. Little monkey. There in the bottom, the top branch, they're just sitting and looking around, looks like. This drainage line, pretty much where they are now. You can imagine with all the activity and everything that's been happening, as we just saw back there with that lion cub, there would have been a lot of noise and things last night. So I'm sure these monkeys are also quite aware and alert to their environment this morning. And that's where monkeys are the most comfortable, the most secure, up in the treetops there. So they'll probably spend a bit of time there. Let's go see if we can find this elephant.